So here I am working on my Stihl KM94R, and I wanted to do some maintenance. And the first thing that I ended up doing was, when I went to go to remove the spark plug, is I ripped the boot completely off the wire. And I thought I was going to have to buy a new coil. I was really upset. So here you see me trying to strip it, because I had the idea that I'm going to try to solder that spring back onto the wire. But once I cut it all open, I had the idea, I'm like, I don't think that's going to work. Cut it open, and that's when I saw how it actually is all put together. So that there is a spring, and that goes over the top of the spark plug, and there's hooks, and that goes, and they puncture through the wire coating and into the conductor, and then that goes on top of the spark plug. So I ended up realizing that I have another ignition coil, and right there it is. And I took that off, and I put that on my Stihl instead of soldering or buying a new one or anything like that. So I just punctured those hooks through into the conductor, and then the boot had a slice in it. It was just easier to do it that way anyway, because it was so tight. So that was the old boot, and it ended up working. It was probably good that I ended up cutting that boot apart, because I ended up learning something anyway. There, I just put it back on to see how it would work. That boot's on there just as a protector. You don't want to touch that spark plug. You're going to get shocked pretty bad. So I'm just changing out the spark plug right now. So as you can see there, because I sliced the boot open, I was able to just slip that wire back on there, reconnect it to the spark plug, and move on with it there. So now I'm moving on over to the air filter, and as you can see, that was pretty gnarly. Change that out. That's the part number there for the Stihl air filter. And my camera wasn't recording, so I already had all the carburetor taken apart. And that's the top end right there. That's where the throttle cable attaches. And the Stihl carburetors are pretty cool. Instead of having throttle plates or choke plates, it's like a slotted plastic cylinder. And as it rotates, it allows more air in that way. And I think it's actually it's a way better design, because sometimes those plates, the screws will come loose and they'll get sucked into the engine, and they could possibly do some damage. So the Stihl carburetors are pretty cool. So put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and that is in a jar of gasoline. And it's, from my experience so far, it's safe to do it that way. It gets everything very, very clean. And, instead of putting it in water degreaser, cleaning it with some clean gasoline is perfectly safe from my experience. You probably don't want to have the heater option on in the ultrasonic cleaner, but if you're just putting it in for like a quick 10-15 minute cycle on the ultrasonic cleaner, it cleans it up pretty good. And then just dispose of the gas how you normally would oil or anything like that. And of course, if you don't feel safe doing it, then just don't do it. I've seen other people do it, and I just kind of gave it a try, and it seemed to work really well for me. But now I'm just putting everything back together, and everything looked good. The gaskets I was able to reuse. The needle looked fine. I just really haven't cleaned it since I owned it, and I just did a really dirty mulch job with the bed redefiner attachment, and it started running a little bit rough, so I just wanted to take it apart, and I'm glad I did, because now it has new air filter, new spark plug, carbs all cleaned up, and it was good. Like, they're pretty well built carburetors. I like them a lot. I'm sure they're not fun to replace, but as far as spending money to replace it, but they're built pretty well. But yeah, I was able to use all the gaskets, which was a plus. I didn't buy a kit. I just reused everything. The diaphragm looked okay. If I start having running issues, I'll probably buy a rebuild kit, and then just, it doesn't take long to do this carburetor. That's the other thing that's cool about Stihl, is that the tool they give you can pretty much work on the entire machine with one tool. Like, all the screws on it are the same size torque bit, which is on the Stihl tool. Now here I got a little bit confused because I couldn't remember how they went back, but the indentations of those two gaskets, they match up, and if you just take the time to look at it, there's actually like pinholes, guide holes there on the right hand side. They're white, and once you get those two, the gasket diaphragm all lined up, just go right back together, and then you just put the bulb on here. So here I'm trying to figure out how it goes back on the top, and there's a little nipple there, and that is where you adjust the carburetor. So the orange choke goes on the same side as that carb adjustment. So here I'm putting the carburetor back on, and the only thing that I really can help with in this is the kill wires right there that are mounted on top of the carburetor. When you're taking the carburetor off, those wires need to come off first. Then when you're putting it back on, you got to put the wires back on, and then you can slide the carburetor on. As you can see there, that I'm using the Stihl tool. It has the same size torque bit for, like I said, for almost every bolt, not every one. I'm hooking the gas lines up there, and we're going to put the air filter gasket on, the outer gasket, and then we're going to put the air filter cover on, tighten that all up. Now we're going to put the new air filter in, button that all up. So next here, we are going to lubricate the trimmer head. You take this bolt out here, again using the same Stihl tool, and you just pump grease inside of there. It definitely helps to pick up one of these. And after lubricating that, we're gonna give it a first start after putting everything back together. I'm just priming the bulb a bunch because I'm trying to get more gas in there. Typically I only do about 6 primes, and it starts first pull. So here I'm just going to do some quick tuning on the idle and then the high speed throttle adjustment as well. And I end up dialing it in pretty good. I think the next time I do a rebuild, I'll definitely have to buy a rebuild kit and change out those diaphragms, and I think that will help with some of the issues I was having. But thank you so much. Check out my other videos if you like this one. Take care.